Good morning. Good morning. This is Doing Relationships Right. I'm Jennifer Hurvitz and I'm your host. And I'm here today. And I always say this every time I do. Colby, I say every time, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. This is like really exciting for me. I have kind of like a superstar in the house today, a superstar, famous person. I'm going to read your bio, Colby. Okay. Colby Rebel is an award-winning international celebrity. Are you ready? Psychic medium, best-selling author, and the host of the acclaimed Colby Rebel Show. Colby's unmatched accuracy and precise guidance have made her the go-to confidant of Hollywood's elite, serving a roster of celebrity and influencer clients. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, okay, wait. You're the best psychic in all of Los Angeles. 2022. That's the word you got.
That's it.
Come on.
I know.
That's huge.
Thank you.
That is huge.
Thank
I'm
you.
so glad you're here. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure. And thank you so much for having me on. I'm very excited to kind of talk with you today and chat with your listeners.
Yeah, let's see. You know what? It's funny. I'm like, before the show, I was asking, what do you think my listeners are going to want? And you're like, oh, we got lots of stuff. I'm thrilled. But a couple things first. First of all, I just wanted to share with you because I have to tell my audience. Last week, I was in Vogue magazine, not for my face. Not for my face. I wasn't on the cover, but my podcast. So that was really exciting. So that'll boost it out to you and boost it out to everyone. And hopefully, now I'm kind of famous too, I think.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
I'm just so excited. Okay. So I have some questions. First of all, tell us who you are. Explain to me like how this started. How did you know you were a psychic? How did you know you were a medium? Do people ask you that all the time?
Yeah, they do a lot just because people, I think, tend to be curious about this. And especially when you do it as a career, they're like, okay, how did that happen?
How did that happen?
And so for me, even though we were aware that I was different, even from a young age, I was very sensitive or just knew things. I wasn't really thinking, oh, I'm going to grow up to be a psychic medium. That certainly wasn't on the radar. In fact, I was a tax manager for many years, so I did taxes. But I started to have these strong nudges that I would say are from source or the universe of like, you're not on the right path. You're not doing what you were meant to do. And as I started to lean into that, some crazy phenomenon was happening also that is like, wow, this is pretty intense. Like it started to lead me down this path of psychic and mediumship. And once I surrendered to it, I mean, my whole life like quickly changed.
Wow.
And there was so much, I think, success so quickly as well. And to me, of course I worked hard, having my own spiritual business, but I really feel like a lot of that was because I was so in alignment with what I was meant to be doing.
Absolutely.
I feel like when we are working from a place of passion, we are working from a place of purpose, the doors tend to open a little bit easier for us. And I really feel like that's kind of what happened.
Do you feel that way with relationships too? Like, do you
Oh
think
my
that,
gosh.
like, I can't wait to talk about this.
Yeah. So I am going to share, I'll tell you, I'm going to share a little bit of my personal story.
Please. I would love it.
Okay. Because your listeners, I think, are going to love this. So I was, for 7 years, I didn't date anyone, just completely celibate, just nothing. I was so focused on serving spirit and being connected, and I didn't even think anything was missing. I didn't really even feel that way. And I was constantly just doing my own thing. So whether that's going to a movie by myself, going to a bar by myself, maybe I love to snowboard. So I was snowboarding all the time by myself. So on a trip up to Big Bear, I was on my way up and I had this really weird feeling, like this kind of lady started to talk to me of like, you're going to meet someone today. I just want you to be calm about it. And I just thought that was just the weirdest thing.
That
I was
is
like,
I would freak out. Like,
yeah,
I
I
wouldn't
was
even know
just
what
like,
it's just
well,
interesting.
I'm just like, whatever, whatever. And met a female friend up here. We went to dinner and she's like, oh, let's go to this place and have a quick drink. Cause she was single and really open to meeting someone. So I was like, sure. Well, we walk into this one place that almost never used to go into. And sure enough, there was a man sitting there. He just turns around and he looks at me and I look at him and I just go, oh my gosh, like in my mind, this is exactly who I saw myself with. It was
Come on.
so weird. And the first time I talked to him, I looked over and no wedding ring or anything on. And I saw a wedding ring in my mind's eye, like I was going to marry this guy. And so
So,
anyhow, we got married this past
oh, shut
May.
up.
In
You
fact,
did.
today is my 3-month wedding
Oh,
anniversary. But I
yeah.
think it's really interesting. Like I just knew when I met him
Yeah.
that wow, we're in this for the long haul.
Okay. So I have a question. What is the difference between like you're a medium, you're a psychic. So when you say, "Oh, I just knew," like you really did just know, right? But I have clients who are like, they've dated someone for 3 weeks or 4 weeks. Like, this is it. This is my guy. I'm like, and I try to, I tell them to slow down, but like, I feel like it's just different because
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, of course, but there's a lot of people that they will, they want the idea of
yes,
love
exactly.
so much that they will over romanticize
Yes.
or kind of go too quickly
Mhm.
rather than being in it.
Yep.
But, I was a little bit of the opposite. I wasn't looking for love. So
Right.
even though I knew, that doesn't mean I wasn't like, pushing this person away and
Right.
saying, "No, I don't wanna do this." Like, "No way." Like, "You fix your life and then we'll talk."
I think that's important. I think
You know?
everyone has to fix their lives before they can talk to someone. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
that's a big thing. I just think
yes.
it's so interesting because I have so many questions like for you personally, but how do you trust? Well, I guess you just do, but I mean, you trust your intuition, but
Yeah.
right? I mean, how is it different than me trusting? I mean, it's obviously different. I don't know. It just seems so cool that you can like just know. You know what I'm saying?
Well, look, I think all of us can absolutely learn to trust our intuition. All right. So we really can. It's a practice. It's like
Yeah.
anything, it's like a meditative practice, a spiritual practice. The more you do it, the more you're going to trust it. And that's important. For me, I think it's a little bit of surrender to, I would say, the universe.
Gotcha.
So I surrender to source is what I say. And that could be for anyone, if that's your God, your source power, whatever universe, whatever term you want to call it. I just call it source. And so really completely and utterly surrender to it. And I allow that to guide me versus overthinking with my head. Now, I'm a woman, I can overthink.
Oh, I wish because it's all I do.
I can, but the more you learn to go, all right, I'm going to trust my intuition and I'm going to allow myself to be guided. And I do want to talk to you about this with your clients who are looking for romance or
Please.
relationship about the difference between trying to drive the bus all the time
Thank
versus
you.
allowing the universe to work for you as
Please, let's
well.
do it. Go on.
Okay. Because a lot of times we want so much control. Just people. If you may have anxiety because you don't know the outcome of something, right? You may experience depression because you're in the past about a past relationship that you're not allowing yourself to just be fully present and trusting. So when we really begin to trust the universe, you know what? They pulled this person out of my life for a reason. I'm not going to hold on to this anymore. I'm going to allow myself to be present and to be open in the experience. Right.
Right.
And so also, I'm sure you have clients or listeners that are like, well, I want this person, but this is what they need to look like. This is how tall they need to be. This is what they need to do. This needs to be their
Yes.
age. This
Yes.
needs to be how they meet me. And that list is so specific where the universe may say, your partner lives right next door to you in the apartment complex, but you refuse to give them the time of day.
Right.
They talk to you every day. They might bring you some flowers as a gesture when they go to the farmer, but you're ignoring them. They listen to you when you complain about all your dates, but you're ignoring them. And it's us trying too hard to control the outcome or the scenario.
Yeah. I think that's so many of my clients, and it's me.
Yeah.
I'm like,
It's a
when I'm
lot
with,
of us.
it's really hard to like trust your intuition, especially when you've messed up.
Yeah.
Like when I fucked up the last time, then I'm like, no, it feels different. It's just like you beat yourself up, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
but I would love to be able to like know just how to trust. I think sometimes I do trust like I'm like, okay, my intuition is telling me and I feel, but then other people around me don't believe in that stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then I
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
like they're shutting me down and saying that's just so dumb. And I'm like, but I really do believe that like this is how it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah,
Do you feel
absolutely.
like you run into that a lot? Do people just say, or everyone pretty much?
I
Trust you.
don't, at this point, I know when I was kind of, I call it taking my leap of faith
Yeah.
and really leaving my tax accounting career and moving more towards the spiritual realm. There were people that I was a little afraid of judgment. I was
Yeah.
afraid of just people calling me a fake or a phony. And, and then I just thought to myself, you know what? I can't worry about what
No,
other
you
people are
cannot.
going to
That's
think.
right. That's
Like,
exactly right.
I know what I'm doing. I know why I'm doing it, and I'm doing it with the highest good, the highest intentions. So, like, whatever. And
Yeah.
so once I did that, once I really was just in my power and surrendering to source and just doing and being, really find so much support, more support than I could have ever, ever, ever have
I'm
imagined.
glad.
And what happens is, like attracts like. And so when you are putting that out there, you're going to attract those who believe in what you do, those who need that healing or want that message or desire that connection, want the clarity, want the direction. Like, they know that their mind's been spinning left and right. They don't have any trouble coming to you and saying, "Hey, help me out with this."
Yep.
And we do the best we can with it.
Yes, absolutely.
Hmm.
I was Googling you and stalking you a little bit, and your Instagram is so awesome. And you've got all these, your reels are so like spot on. And you're smart.
Thank you.
But you talked about long lasting or love that gets you to the, like a long lasting relationship.
Yes.
You just did a reel. I just watched that and I thought it was so interesting. Like
Yeah,
everything.
I feel like for a lot of us, one, we have to take stock of ourselves. One thing is, are you repeating cycles, repeating patterns? And if so, why? Why are you doing that? Are you trying to, you know, change somebody? Right?
Mm,
Fundamentally change, especially as women, I've noticed, or and maybe even as sensitives, just anyone who's more of a sensitive being or person,
me-
we have the ability to see someone's what they're capable of, what their soul's capable of, right? You see the
yeah,
best in someone. Well, guess what? They're showing up at their worst, but you stay with them because you're like, I know this is in them. I know, and if I'm just there long enough, and if I
I
just
can change
love
them.
them enough,
Oh,
they're gonna change. They're gonna see it. But it's not. They need to do the inner work, and we all
right.
need to do the inner work. Best advice around this is look for a partner that has already done the inner work,
Oh,
that is doing the inner work,
yes,
that is, being responsible for themselves is
I agree.
important.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that. My boyfriend and I broke up for a year
Yeah.
because he didn't want to do the work.
Mhm.
And the year that we broke up, he just dove right in. He was like, I'm going to do this for me. And she's gone. I'm never going to see her again. And lo and behold, a year later, like we're back together, but he
Wow.
did the work. He
Yeah.
really did the work. I would never have gotten
Yeah.
back with him if he didn't work on himself.
That's
And I think,
great.
yeah. And I just it was like I sat with him and I was like, he's just his energy was different.
Yeah. Good.
Everything about him. It was nice.
Yeah. I mean, that's one, and but he also knew, if I don't do the work,
Yeah.
I don't get this partner. I don't get this caliber of partner,
Right. You're absolutely
you
right.
know?
Yeah. So
And one of
interesting.
the things I wanted to say about, you're saying trusting my intuition and needing to trust it more. Again, for you and for all the listeners, acknowledge and notice the times when you didn't listen to your intuition, and after the fact you're like, I knew I should have XYZ.
Okay.
Acknowledge that feeling, because that's a learning experience. That's a response,
I'm
right?
so
That's
glad
a
you said that. Yeah.
physiological fight or flight response. So when you have it, it's going, so when it's in the opposite direction of yes, then you'll learn to go, wait a minute, I'm listening. Wait a minute. We're expecting it to be this big flood, impulsive, like, and it's not. It's subtle, but it's more of a flash. So it could be a flash feeling, a flash thought, a flash knowing. So just being able to kind of capture that and trust it, I think, is the most important thing.
That's amazing. And do you have any tools that you can tell it? Like, what do you suggest as far as, I know you talk about breath work a lot.
Yeah, I do
Yeah,
talk about breath work a lot. I think it's really important just to help us stay grounded because when you become anxious and nervous, you cannot make clear thoughts, right? Everything's, then we're creating scenarios in our head,
that's what I
right? We're
do.
going down the rabbit hole of like,
That's me.
who knows what.
Oh my God, is it with my kids? It's always with my, it's so funny. I don't know. It's always with my boys.
Yeah.
They're older, they're both in college. And I will seriously have to say out loud to myself, stop.
Yeah.
These are junk thoughts. This is not real.
Yeah.
And I'm like spinning out. I'm like, and I feel like a lot of my friends are like that with their kids.
Well, there's a couple tips here that I think will really help. One is we call that your alter ego, your big ego, right? Or the little ego, right? The big ego is the cocky one, is the one that thinks it's so great, the best there is. The little ego is the one that has the negative thoughts, the worries, the insecurities, the fear. I want you to name your little ego. Give it a name. Like mine is Ginger. So
Okay.
if Ginger starts misbehaving, I give Ginger a timeout. Like, hey, girl, you need a timeout. Like, this isn't serving us. And just by being able to kind of go, not today, here's your timeout, and to separate it from
I
your
love that.
soul self versus
Okay.
your ego self, it kind of gives you a moment of more clarity and helps you calm down a little bit quicker and easier. So I think that that's important. And then the second thing I love teaching people is what I refer to as the compass.
Okay.
So the compass is your intuition. Have you ever seen anyone play with a pendulum? Do you know what
Yeah.
that is?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we all have a pendulum inside of us. It's our internal pendulum. Like, we're born with it. You're natural. It's your intuition, fight or flight. So what we want to do is right around your belly button, you imagine a round circle and there's a line right down the middle of it. So imagine a line cutting that circle right in half.
Okay.
And with your hand over your belly button, right? You just take some breaths in and out.
I'm
And you
doing
just
it.
say, you start with, what side is my yes side? And you start with saying a fact, something you know to be true, right? I have two boys, right?
Okay.
I know this to be, do I feel a little nudge to the left or do I feel a little nudge to the right? So see if you feel, say a fact for you and see if you feel a little nudge to the left or right.
Okay. And
Slight.
then what happens when you do?
That's going to be your yes side.
Okay.
Okay. Then we say a lie. We know this is false. It should move in the opposite direction.
Okay.
So this will never change. Your yes side will always be your yes side. Your no side will always be your no side.
So interesting.
So then what happens is you start to build that. You can start to just test it around you, things with you, right? Is this person going to cancel our date? Yes or no?
Oh,
Right?
it's like a magic 8 ball.
It kind of is. It kind of is.
Kind of.
But what I want you to do is the more you practice and strengthen that yes or no, then what happens is ultimately, naturally, you will be driven from the belly button. You will be driven from in that will start to guide you. It will start to react and give the answers before your mind even they get to your mind.
And how long do you think it takes to get that, to
I
be able
think
to
it
do it?
depends. That's a case by case
Yeah.
basis because
Yeah.
some people are so logical in their frontal lobe that they're going to have a hard time just trusting in certain, like
Yep.
so the more you can just relax and practice and go, okay, here we go, the easier it's going to become for you to kind of grasp it and be able to do it automatically.
Oh my gosh, I would love that because I definitely have had those moments where I'm like, nope, don't
Yeah.
do it. I know it's wrong. I know that I shouldn't be going like with this
I
guy
know.
or I shouldn't be whatever.
Oh yeah.
And the hair on my back and the neck stands up and I'm like, girl, you gotta, and I actually have to talk myself, but then oftentimes I just go ahead and do it anyway. And then I get screwed. It's like,
Yeah.
I
But
need a
at
little bit
least
more
you
pull.
knew
Yeah, I
to
did.
listen to it,
I
right?
did. And that was like,
Mhm.
why didn't I do X, Y, or Z? Then
Yep.
I start like, now we know what it looks like though. Like that's that feeling of like, nope, don't do it. Now I know that it's
Yeah.
real. Right.
Exactly.
Okay. So you talk also, do you mind if I keep going?
No, I don't mind at all.
Okay. So I know you talk a lot about also clearing your negative energy.
Yes.
Okay. What does that mean?
Well, a lot of times I feel like we carry other people's energy on us, especially as a mom,
Oh
right?
my gosh, all
You
day.
know, You carry other people's energy. A lot of us do. And so that energy is residual energy. It's somebody else's energy. And that can become negative for us. It
Yeah.
weighs us down. And it's extra baggage we certainly don't need. And so a great way to really clear that is through, I love salt baths,
You
salt
too. Oh,
scrubs,
great. Okay.
sweating is really good as well, exercise. So anything that just flushing out the system with water is also really good. But think about it. There's things that we know, most of us, that there's going to be gossip behind your back. There's going to be some things we pick up on, and those are things we cannot control, but we don't want to absorb it. We don't want to absorb someone else's toxic energy. We don't want to absorb someone else's drama. Are you the person that someone picks up the phone is like, oh my goodness, you'll never believe it. And next thing you know, you're like, I feel so drained after that conversation.
100%.
Yeah.
Why? But how do you I mean, I should, how do you stop that? Like, how do I just don't listen?
Well,
Because I
one
feel like
thing,
part of me is like, I'm a people pleaser. So of course I'm like,
yeah,
oh, I'm
yeah.
going to listen. And then I'm exhausted.
Yeah. So there's two things here. One is you're able to listen. I think we can listen. You don't have to kind of say, I'm not. But there's a couple things here. If one person is chronically over dramatic, and every time you pick up that phone, it's going to be drama, 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 then when they call, just let it go to voicemail and just take a couple minutes. Just a couple to go, let me get some breath work. Let me have it. Give them a couple minutes to kind of process whatever they're processing, and then you can call them,
Yeah.
right? But you'll be in a space to not feel attacked energetically because they're going to throw it at you.
Right.
I'm not saying that's intentional, but just sometimes someone's projecting, or they're spewing, or, whatever, venting. And so that could be part of it. The second thing that you could do is just imagine, like, we can listen, doesn't mean we have to absorb. So, right?
Interesting.
And
Interesting.
so imagine like a clear box around you where all of your energy can go out. You can be there, you can be supportive, but all their energy does not penetrate that box.
Mm.
And knowing that, their energy doesn't penetrate the box. And so that in itself, I think, can make a big difference as well.
It's just, yeah, absolutely not accepting it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like just saying,
Yeah.
I'm just going to listen, but I'm not going to, because I find that I carry everything in my neck and my back and
Yeah.
my shoulders. I mean, I just really feel like I take everybody else's shit on.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's just it is exhausting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, um, my next question is, I have so many like really deep like questions I want to ask, but I'm like, maybe she knows already. What was I going to say? Oh yeah. So when you, learn to forgive or need to forgive, why is
Yeah.
that? Is that the same as negative energy or is that different?
No, I think learning to forgive is important in, a lot of us, I believe, at some point in our life have been wronged or have felt wronged. And that could be across many, many layers, whether someone has betrayed you, lied to you, deceived you, abused you, regardless. It could be little things, big things. But what happens is we will tend to hold on to them, right? We'll
Yeah.
tend to hold on to that resentment or that anger or that feeling. And at the end of the day, you might not even be talking to that person anymore. That person may not even be in the living, right? You may have cut that cord a long time ago. But when you hold on to those emotions and those feelings, that is only impacting you.
Absolutely.
You're impacting yourself. So, you've been through enough with that experience. There's no need to continuously punish yourself over it by taking on those feelings
Yeah.
over and over and over. So all you have to do is just say, you know what? I'm not going to let that experience control me anymore. I'm not going to allow that person's behavior to make me feel a certain way about myself.
Right.
I'm just going to forgive. I don't need to be friends with them. I don't need to talk to them. I'm only forgiving so that I give myself a sense of peace because I know I deserve that.
Absolutely. Is that okay? So you said something interesting that they may not even be living. So you
Right.
can still have this like attachment to people.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
I know that that's definitely what you, right? You believe that there is an afterlife, that there are people
Oh,
that you can
yeah.
have connections, which I agree. I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
I have like friends who have lost close people in their family, and they still have that guilt or that,
That feeling.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Absolutely. Yeah, but just through the forgiving process, it is a way for us to give ourselves an opportunity to heal.
Absolutely. Okay,
Mhm.
one more question before I let you go.
Okay.
Okay, I know that you believe in life, obviously, life after death.
Yes.
Okay, so why am I so flippin' horrified of death? Is that is that a
Well, I
lot of,
think it could be normal, right? Because we don't know exactly how that transition is going to take
right,
place.
that's
We
what it
don't
is.
know when that transition is going to take place. And I think that unknown for anyone who especially likes to control,
Yes,
that creates anxiety, that
yes,
creates worry, that creates fear. And, so, but at the end of the day, you can't control it,
right,
right? At the end of the day, you can't. So why worry and create fear and let it control so much of your life for something that you can't control anyway?
right. I think you're definitely right. It's the unknown. It's the not
Yes,
knowing
yeah.
what's going to happen. Right.
But just when you have that moment, just say, you know what though? I'm gonna live today. I'm gonna live in this
Yes,
moment. I'm gonna make the most out of this moment because, like they say, we're never
we don't know.
guaranteed the next, right?
That's right. That's
So
right.
I think the more we can focus on being present and really focusing, I think the biggest thing is focusing on what truly brings you joy and balance. A lot of times we can get so lost in the material things, thinking that's going to make us happy. When I have this, then I'll be happy. When I have that, then I'll be happy. Rather than just saying, wait a second, that opportunity for happiness is already here,
Yeah, it's right in front
right?
of us.
It's right in front of us. And
Interesting.
when we give ourselves that opportunity of gratitude, of reflection, of being present and knowing that no matter what is going on, there is something to be grateful for because your mindset can absolutely manifest more of what you do want. And it can certainly manifest more of what you don't want based on your thoughts.
Right. It's like putting it out there, right, into
That's
the
right.
universe.
Hmm.
Absolutely. So tell me, Colby, where, if I wanted to come and use your service, how would I find you? What can I do? What do you offer? I just would love to know.
So the best way is visiting my website,
It's gorgeous.
colbyrebel.com. All the information is there. I have a brick and mortar in LA, but I also do Zoom and phone readings all
Oh, I
around
love
the
that.
world, which is great. And my Instagram and TikTok and Facebook is at Colby Rebel Medium. So come on
Perfect.
over, say hello. Like you said, I'm doing lots of little videos on Instagram and
So good.
TikTok of just some tips and guidance and things to kind of help all of us kind of have that soul growth, that personal development in our lives.
Yeah, I think you're awesome. I really
Thank
do. I'm
you.
so glad you were here today. Can you give my listeners one more tidbit, one but golden nugget of something that you suggest as
Yeah,
far as
absolutely. I feel like for all of you out there, you may be at a crossroads, right? There may be an unknown and there may be things you want and are feeling frustrated. Why are they not here for you? But encourage yourself, ask yourself, what actions can I take today? And how can I surrender to the universe in a way so that they will bring me what's for my highest good while I am being proactive in my life?
love that? Oh, I have to. By the way, you'll be getting a phone call from me. I can't wait. I'm excited. Thank you so much, Colby, for being
Thank
here. I
you.
appreciate it. And your podcast is
Colby Rebel Show.
Colby
So
Rebel Show. That's right.
that's
Okay, so
it.
everything's going to be in the show notes, so everybody can find you. And you'll come back. Will you come back?
I would absolutely come
I'd
back.
love
I
it.
can't wait.
Oh,
Thank
awesome.
you.
Thanks, Colby. Thank you so much. And
Absolutely.
everybody do something positive today. Learn some breath work or do some meditation or drink some more water, right? Clear
Yeah.
out that negative space, that negative energy. And I always say when I leave one thing, peace, love, and so much truth. So y'all have a great day. Thanks, Colby. We'll talk soon. Bye, guys.